time is a great time for me to get caught up on some woodworking projects, and I decided I wanted to build this shave horse. I want to get into some carving, some spindle making possibly, but mostly for making spoons and things of that nature. So looked at a million different designs online, and the one thing that I really needed to make sure I could do is make this design folding. I don't have a lot of room to have a large another piece of equipment in my workshop, so I wanted to make sure I could slide this underneath the workbench, get it out of the way when I wasn't using it. So I've looked at just about every different design you could imagine. I've decided to make a combination between the Origami Shave Horse, which you see online, and an English style shave horse. So I'm going to try to do this as economically as possible. I'm going to do it with as much materials as I have in the shop as possible. I want to make it a simple project. So I'm going to start with a 2x4, 8 foot long. I'm going to cut it in half. That's going to be the body of my shave horse. Then I'm going to cut the legs out. I want a single front leg that will fold underneath and double legs in the back that will fold up to make this into a nice compact flat assembly. So we're going to start by cutting this 2x4 in half. So I've cut these two 3.5 inch blocks. These are going to go at either end of the body of the shave horse to give me that separation so I can get my center leg in there. Now that I have my blocks underneath, I'm going to drill and countersink these. We'll put some decorated plugs in them later. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure and cut out 3 legs, 24 inches long, with a 15-degree angle on each side. I want the legs to be a little bit angled for stability. So I have these 5/16 carriage bolts. I just had these laying around. I'm going to use these for essentially the axles, the pivots for the front and the rear legs. I'm going to take my front leg and I'm going to drill a hole half the width, so 1 3/4 down from the top, 1 3/4 in this way. That'll be my pivot point for the front leg. So I'm going to do that on the drill press to make sure it's straight. Then I'll use that hole as a guide to drill it through the base of the sawhorse. So here's what we're going for. We got a folding leg in the center. We will end up putting another block here for support. But that's how we want the front leg. Now we're going to work on the back legs. Okay, so this is what we have so far. So we've recessed and cut our carriage bolt. We did put a block at the front here, cut it 15 degrees to match the leg angle. We also did the same thing in the back to match the leg angle for support. Did put a little bit of a wider foot that's 12 inches wide down at the bottom. But so far, I'm happy with the base that we have. So the height feels good to me. It's sturdy. We ended up at just about 23.5 inches, so a little bit higher than originally anticipated, but actually, judging by the feel, I think this is a good height, so I think it'll work well. We could always trim the legs down at the end if we decide it was too high. I think this is going to work. I'm going to go with a a movable head design. I'm going to use a 2x4 in the center and 2x6s on the outside to stabilize it on these horizontal bars here. I'm going to go with a wedge style. Rick Mayotte, I saw his Shave Horse design, and he used a wedge style. A lot of the other ones had a fixed head that fit in a slot, and that was one of my biggest problems with trying to design this, is I wouldn't be able to fold up my front leg. So thank you, Rick, for that idea, and we're going to try to duplicate that on this. We're going to do a little bit of a different design up top, but I like the idea of being able to just slide a wedge in on that head, move that head forward and backwards to get it in the position that we find comfortable. Okay, so I get an idea of the height for my head here. So I cut my slot in the head here. I'm going to use a rasp to clean it out because I don't have really good files. So I made a 7/8, which is the width of this, and I can custom make my wedge to fit in there. I ended up cutting this down a little bit farther. It was a little bit too high, but this will slide right in. I have my wedge. That's not going anywhere. So there's a lot of different ways I could make the clamp for the lathe. I got this scrap piece of oak, so I'm going to leave the square part as is, and I'm just going to turn these ends down to about 1 inch round, and that'll slot into the arms to make my clamp. So here's our almost finished product. We're going to neaten it up a little bit, do some detail work on it, but it's pretty much done. We've got a seat on it now, and the seat will slide to whatever position we want. We've got different adjustments for our head block here. I might change that block at some point, but I had this wood, so it seemed like a good idea. We made some spacers for behind here. I'm not sure that bolt's what I'm going to ultimately use, but it's what I had to test this out. If we do keep that bolt, it's a little bit long. We'll end up cutting this off and probably putting a clevis pin so we can remove it. Works well. It takes down, it folds up pretty easily. We can just remove the seat. And our wedge just pops out. The head removes. And folds nice and flat. Slide this under our workbench now, get it out of the way when we're not using it. Pretty happy with it. Kind of a prototype design. There's a few mistakes that I made on it that I would clean up afterwards, kind of a learning experience. But all in all, I'm happy with it, and it actually works pretty well. Don't make fun of my old draw knife, it's all I got. So there's my Shave Horse. Does what I need to do. It's compact, folds up easily. Didn't cost me a whole heck of a lot of money. I think I used a half of a 2x6 and probably 3 2x4s for just about the entire construction. A couple of carriage bolts I had laying around and some screws. So I'm very happy with how it came out. I hope to be using it soon for some projects. I will probably make a spoon mule for this so that I can do some wood carving and make some spoons in the future. And that was really my real intent, but I wanted to make the standard thing first and see how this prototype that was in my head came out. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions or any comments, please put them in the comments. I'd appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you would like to, please hit the subscribe button and also hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate it. So until next time here on Sunny Side Up Farm, we hope all your days are sunny side up.